We take pride in satisfying every customer's financial needs.
Ngalo na lawa to kuma ta bak asira linga da fo ko nyi founding kila
hey elafta maboro la bank kalpo efa igiso SO na yuna jang ibadin ke yato kati yuna wallet ibe falindiro ke kan sandiri nyat
ni la yuna wallet to si muna fanno tulo yabo mano country ani fen jama isi sanno la yuna wallet to kono yalla kamo soto ila wallet to kono
alkana la konda no tay kafi yuna wallet anatan tolle rukan na balwo fanondi abe sono yaren ko bulu podo ne la mobile scan yo science ise maboro ke wato men diate
ko be sandro ke fangole ba ko ba ke kan dimbalem isi ñu lonko e sandro se yona enterprise wato wati ani la yona wallet to la ibe lan kamo soto kay la wallet to kono
alina nga kafun nanyi yuna dimbayal kan kasandiro ke yuna bitikoto alinga kata nyin ko kentat na sura fa lolu si sandiro kije se maboro fanan keje
moro jundiana nyum ko di mabal ni kadeda
Welcome to another edition of our show. It's another Thursday and we're back in the studio again to talk about what is happening in the country right now. And of course today I have my brother. It's been a long time. Salieu Taal. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Fatou.
I just get Fatou on all this while, Sal. Huh?
Man feel like first Fidel.
Twitter la de gis na. Twitter mom.
Wow.
Yang correct. So you na hari fogo mo kaya have demal Twitter. What have you been up to, Sal?
Well, you know, I mean, as you know, I finished my tenure as bar president.
Yeah.
And I've been very much active and involved in helping the government establish the special accountability mechanism. Basically, they proposed the court that would try those who committed atrocities during the Jammeh era. So I'm very much involved in that. I'm a member of the technical committee, the ECOWAS Gambia Technical Committee. So that has kept me very busy.
So let's look at first the bar, right?
Yes.
You have been at the bar since at a crucial time, you know?
Yes.
When it was around the time the new government was coming in. Since then up to now, because obviously transitioning from a dictatorship to, you know, somehow a democracy, I don't know.
Somehow.
Somehow, I'm not sure if we're fully there. I mean, but we have made great strides. Honestly, we have made great strides. How was it like leading the bar at that crucial point, you know, just as a change of the transition and going into democracy?
I mean, I was in the bar before the change of government, and then after the change of government, Chief Tamedu was there during the impasse
time,
and then of course you had my sister Rachel Mendy. Rachel Mendy I took thereafter. It's always been difficult particularly being bar president under on the Jammeh regime.
Okay.
And I happen to have been. I was actually president at some point during
During
that.
the Jammeh time.
Yeah, and that was one of the. That's probably the hardest
Okay.
time to be president.
of Bar.
And there's so many stories I have, so many episodes of things that I've seen happen. And I have been in the bar since I started practice in the Gambia. As early as 2003-4, I was in the bar.
Yeah.
And back in the days, I was one of the youngest in the executive when I just came back from my studies. I joined the executive, the membership, general membership, joined the executive. And I remember when I became secretary at a very early young age. My sister, big sister, Ami Bensouda,
Okay.
you know, and also on the Sheriff Tambedu, served as secretary, served as vice president, and then served as president, and had a second chance to serve as president after the political impasse, after Rachel Mendes' tenure. Yeah, so it is a lot easier now than it was then. Then, I remember there's a time we were supposed to have an AGM, and somehow one of our members leaked it. Yes, because we had members who were complicit with the regime at the time, and everything we discuss sometimes finds its way to the NIA in those days. So I remember it was one of our colleagues, I think it was actually, may have been Moses Richards, who was unlawfully detained. And we were discussing about taking action, including protesting, and the rest of it. And we had our plans and everything else, and we were going to have a big meeting in court number 1. And then that day I was one of the first to come. Then I remember meeting Chief Tambedu, Omar Njai, now Justice Jai, and others. And I remember Chief telling me, let's go. I was walking, he said, let's go, just help me and walk with me. And then I looked at him and said, look, the NIA were like all over the court premises, all over, literally prevented us from having a meeting. That's the time we lived. We couldn't even have a meeting in our courthouse because of the NIA, And so many things happened. So many lawyers were being arrested just for writing a letter for a client or for being in a case. As you know, Usman Sela was basically shot for representing Baba Joe. You see we know what also happened to Mai Fati, for example. And lawyers were routinely called in and detained and asked questions, and there's not much anything can do about it. So, the public didn't even have hope in the judiciary. I always say that, I know people complain, but I really believe that the judiciary is way more independent than it's ever been. It is still slow, it's still congested.
But it's way more different.
To be fair, how many cases have the government lost? A lot. They've lost way more, starting from Yakumba's case, the KMC case, the National Assembly case. Government, whenever they go to court and they lose, the awards made against government, the police, and the Minister of Lands, and that's the judiciary there.
I believe the judiciary now is really, really doing very well. Especially now it's being Gambianized. We have more Gambian judges than before. But you were one of those people who also, let's say, founded the Gambia Has Decided. I remember, I had an interview with Taff, and he was just talking. He told me, I was surprised when he told me how, some of you had to be smuggled through his house because of all the incident that happened. That was a tough time. How were you guys able to do that, even though Jammeh was in the country? So
basically, Gambia Has Decided was started in my house.
Wow.
In my house. So I basically, after Jammeh accepted the results, and then within a week, he came on TV and said that he's denying the results and that IEC are not God-fearing people. And then you had the army basically surround and take over IEC. So, and there was a lot of anxiety in the population. There's a lot of talk about what are we going to do. There's a lot of noise on social media. I remember seeing Asta Job saying, Asta Job, that triggered me. It's like the silence is deafening. What's happening? These ECOWAS people are coming in and going in and out. So I called Asta. I said, let's meet at my house at 7, and I'll order food. We'll chat. So I called Asta and few people that I also know very well. Some of them I've worked with. We had done a campaign called Ebola Free Gambia. I don't remember that. So we had a bit of knowledge about how to do hashtag and mobilize the population. So I called some of those people that I had worked with in different campaigns. I said, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to sit down and just accept one man, take our voice away? That's how we brainstormed, came up with a hashtag, launched it right there, right in my house. Change our DPs. As soon as we change our personal profiles, the whole of Gambia changed there. But no one really knew where it was coming from. You know,
it's like
it just became viral. I mean, and at that moment, to be honest with you, I mean, I was the oldest in the room. Rafi was there. I mean, a few other people. Some of them don't want to be named. I always call them the nameless, faceless JDP. They don't want to be in the limelight. But you know, very, very smart young Gambians. Half of them were actually women professionals. And we brainstormed and came up with an idea, a fantastic idea of how to use leverage on technology and the media to really amplify the voice of the Gambia. That was the simple idea. Just create this, because we have voices all over. So Gambians I just brought it together with one hashtag and amplified it through social media, billboards, T-shirts. And we basically, initially we funded it out of our pockets. You know, Rafi had a billboard company, another one had an IT company, another one had a radio station. So we had, within us, we had resources that we could use through our networks. That's how it basically came about. And I remember then in our second meeting, we invited, that's when Talib actually joined us and a few others. Talib, Jammeh, and others joined us. We expanded the group. Haruna Drame expanded the group, brought also Manka to help us with our media. So we started building it around teams. We had a media team, we had a finance team, we had an operations team, and we had a steering committee looking at everything, which I chaired. So it was a very, very well run. It was actually run like a startup. I still have the notes. And we had a team called Team Dockers. They were basically taking the T-shirts and distributing the communities. And we partnered with Activista, who had, I mean, presence all over the country, and they were taking our T-shirts all over. So that's how the youth came in and made it a mass movement. So that was Activists, the likes of Babukar, Nyang, and others who came in and really were very, very helpful and owned it, because we were the catalysts. We didn't own it. We just spun the idea and then let it out there, and it belonged to every Gambian. So when they asked, I said, well, the idea may have started in my room with a group of friends, but really what became what it is because of Gambians took it on. So it was the right time, right moment. And at that point in time, really, I remember telling the people in the room, like, basically anybody what we're going to do, you can lose your life, you can be tortured, you can be arrested.
Exactly.
And that if anybody is not interested or doesn't want to take the risk, they can leave. And everybody stayed. I said everybody stayed.
And that's my next question. With that situation, you know, this is a brutal dictator who didn't want to leave power, and we all know how he was. But the determination to start that and be committed to it and take ownership and even change your DPs before any other person, did you guys know the risk and knew that what you were doing could just end up being anything?
For, you know, like for me personally, I being a Gambian, you know, fairly got good opportunities, well educated, coming back working, running as my law practice, and not being able to do much on a dictatorship. It was not something that I was comfortable with. I mean, even as a lawyer, you couldn't do much. You know, so that sense of helplessness, you know, it's like your dignity as a person. And then the moment we came out, actually the first time I ever voted in Gambia was 2016. That's the first time I went out and voted.
Wow.
Despite my level of education exposure, because I never thought voting could make a difference. But 2016, I'm like, you know what, we will vote these guys out. So we voted and supported the coalition, but the Barrow-led coalition, with the hope that this is a chance. This is the last chance we have. So when we announced the results, I mean, I had tears in my eyes. I never felt so happy. And many Gambians were like so happy and joyous. And if you go in the streets, you can see how happy. We felt like we were out of bondage. We were free. You know, that euphoria that Gambia has never seen before. And then we were at the zenith, to the top of the mountain.
And you just want to take it again.
Then somebody just woke up one morning again and said, you know what, I'm going to take you back.
Back to that.
So we tasted the freedom. We said, no. No. I mean, because we had the courage. We said, look, so we can actually, we were able to come together with our cards to remove this guy. So that for me was we were emboldened. I remember people are going out there, his billboards being taken off, yanked, and I mean, even though I don't condone that.
Yeah.
But the picture of Gambians in the streets taking out the Jammeh billboards, yanking it down, working on it. In as much as I don't condone vandalism, but for me that was very symbolic of where we are as a country. I mean, the youths were they were at the peak. So for me and many Gambians, he just pulled the plug. We said no, not the second time, because at that time we were emboldened. Of course, for us, the bar. I was one of those guys with Aziz who basically pushed the bar, and were very instrumental in getting the bar to release that statement. We had a private meeting before the meeting.
That statement.
In fact, our meeting was supposed to be in January.
Yeah.
I remember I was on the phone with Aziz Bensouda, who played a huge role. But he's a behind-the-scenes man. I had to recognize he's one of those. I mean, he was much younger then. It was like we're talking to him. I'm like, Sal, we can't. I'm like, yeah, we have to do something. And that's how the coordinator started with Aziz, the likes of Aziz, Yasin, Senghor, and others. Very young, and I mean, younger in those days.
Yeah.
Came together, had a room, Coco Ocean, planned the whole thing.
Wow.
And that the statement, everything was planned. And then we went to the room and then basically rolled it out. And that's how we released that statement as a bar association for the first time, a very, very strong statement that told Jammeh that by the 19 you must step down. If you don't step down, you are committing treason.
Yeah.
And that statement was read by Sheriff Tambidu.
Yeah,
So for me, that was a big step. And that was a step that I think really emboldened Gambians. When the bar spoke, everybody else started speaking.
Yeah.
Even the Chamber of Commerce spoke. I mean, the Taxi Drivers Association, Bars Watchers, Craft Market, you name it, any association. And also, even the teachers, I think that time, Dr. Sule was, and others, they also, they might have even been the first person to speak, if I understand.
Yeah.
But the bar was the one that everybody heard. So any grouping of Gambians spoke out loudly. And then, I think that was the first time you started having this collective defiance against Jammeh. That he never saw before. So by the time Gambia Has Decided came into being, there's already an ecosystem of defiance in different corners. So Gambia Has just brought it together under one umbrella. Basically.
Obviously, is this the Gambia that we decided for? When you look at everything, the resistance, the outspokenness and everything, is this the Gambia that when you were leading the Gambia Has Decided, was this the Gambia that you were looking forward to?
I have mixed feelings about this. Yeah, but I'll tell you something. I always tell people, yes, this is the Gambia we decided. We decided Gambia without Jammeh.
Okay.
Right? And that has happened.
Yes.
The Gambia Decided was basically to reassert the voice of the Gambians. The Gambians voted for President Adama Barrow.
Yeah.
And President Adama Barrow was sworn in as our president. So that's what we're saying. We decided for Adama Barrow. We didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
But we know that we didn't want what was with Jammeh. We know that we didn't want dictatorship. We didn't want being killed. We didn't want being abducted. We didn't want being treated like we're chattels in our country. So we really voted against. We voted against Jammeh. I mean, we really didn't know Adama Barrow. Yeah. That's the truth. Of course, we knew it's a coalition. We knew that we are voting against, assault of the press. I mean, a system that didn't respect the rule of law. Yeah. And we were really, really mortified as a population. So we really voted against that. And I think the glass is half full, not half empty. Okay. But it's not where it should be. Okay. So today, the fact that I can sit here, we could talk about
and have this kind of conversation.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I was on Peter Gomez speaking my mind about what I think of the system, and my disappointments in the system. I mean, shows that we are different. It's a different Gambia.
We have come a long way.
Because at least today, I mean, if we don't agree with what the current government is doing, we can voice it out. Yeah. And we have people who want to vote against the government can vote against the government. Yeah. Who want to vote for them can vote for them. It's a free country. Yeah. I mean, the press is, as free as it can get. Despite challenges, sometimes the government cross the line, and we fight. The press fight back. Civil society fight back. We go to the courts. We fight, and most of the time we win. Yeah. So now we are resolving our disputes through democratic instruments. Yeah. That's what we were fighting for. Today, when President Barrow dismissed Yakumba, the court said he couldn't do it, and he was restored. That's unthinkable. I mean, so many other things.
I don't know what judge would have ruled against Jammeh.
No, I mean,
in that kind of situation.
I mean, but you remember even Jammeh, I mean, because of the ruling in one of the, I think, one of these treason cases.
Yeah.
That's the reason, because the Supreme Court made the ruling, that's the reason against the government acquitting someone. That's why he basically didn't put the Supreme Court in place, and that came to haunt him anyway. So for me, I think that really, I mean, when people voted against Jammeh, the Jammeh system, not many people even read the manifesto of the coalition.
No.
Right?
It was the system that we didn't
we just wanted to get rid of.
That system.
Anybody would have beaten, anybody really could have beaten Jammeh, in my opinion, because people just, they had enough of Jammeh.
Yeah.
But the margin was very small, a little over less than 20,000.
Less than 20, about 18,000 something.
Yeah, thereabouts. So that shows you there was still, he was still popular. So even despite the fact that the opposition came together, they still beat him by a little bit over 19,000 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So it was a very tight race. You know, but notwithstanding, we did it, and now today we have a democracy. I mean, we have to say there are many good things that has happened. There are also many disappointments. You know, I mean, I think we have the civic space that hardly existed now exists. I mean, the concept of civil society was not really. We had NGOs. The word rights you don't hear in the vocabulary of NGOs. I remember even when Gambia Has Decided, I have to say this. We want to have a meeting in Tango, and they said no. We cannot have a meeting in Tango. I mean, we will issue press releases. And when Jammeh was bringing down the billboards, I wrote a letter addressed to him, sent to State House, and I think only Faraya published it. The papers didn't even want to publish, even we were willing to pay, because there was still that fear. But today is different.
It's different.
Today is different. So I think it is not where it should be, but I think we have gone a long way. We have to admit. I mean, but we live in a highly politicized society. See, when people are fighting for freedom and justice, they don't think of politics. But once you have freedom and justice, politics come and pushes away all those ideals, and it becomes a different game. That's where we are today.
That's where we are. We'll look at all the other issues, but let me start with something that you're very passionate about, and I think a lot of Gambians are also interested in, is the transitional justice. You know, the reason why Gambians wanted Jammeh gone was the disappearances, the killings, and all the things that we were hearing on the radios. Obviously, we had a commission, and a lot of things were revealed. A lot of people believe that this government has not done enough when it comes to the transitional justice system. You have been very passionate about that, and you also helped the government to set up with the setting up of the transitional justice.
The proposed hybrid court. Yeah.
What do you know about this the transitional justice process that Gambia is about to set up?
Okay, I think to be fair, I mean, I just came from Liberia. I think we met.
We joined the same flight.
We crossed paths on the way. You know, Liberia had a war, civil war, and after 20 years, they're just setting up their. After 20 years after their Truth Commission, 20 years, they're just setting up their
hybrid court.
They're just setting up the office to the hybrid court.
Wow.
So, and there's no white paper, by the way.
Okay.
So for us, look at the timelines. So within 2-3 years,
we set up the commission.
We set up a commission,
about 3 years,
and we have, we have one of the best and most transparent truth-seeking processes in the world. So Gambia's truth-seeking process is being benchmarked as best practice. The reason I am able to go to Liberia is because of the work I've done in Gambia, and it's seen as very innovative and dynamic, transparent, inclusive, participatory. From the transitional justice basically is, centering your system based on respect for rule of law, justice and accountability. We didn't have a war, but we had a repressive regime that basically, we had a constitution, but we had laws that were weaponized, and there was the judiciary was independent. The police were basically instruments of oppression. So was the army. So many Gambians were killed, some tortured, some there was enforced disappearances, and so on and so forth. So transitional justice basically allows you to press the reset button again, and be governed by your laws, by these values of respecting the law of law, meaning the law is what governs. If somebody gets arrested, you're going to be arrested based on the law. If somebody is convicted, you're going to be convicted based on the law. And there's separation of powers. The judiciary will do their work without being told what to do. The president cannot tell the judge to convict somebody, or the president cannot. And those things, to my knowledge, are not happening anymore. Yeah. I think the judiciary, I don't think Anambra can tell Hassan Jallow to do anything, in my personal opinion, as somebody who works in the sector, as you can see from the cases. Now, also, of course, we still have problems with the police from time to time, but even the police will come out and deny stuff and issue press releases. If you accuse them of doing something wrong, they'll say, we didn't do it. That means that at least they recognize that they are bound and by the law, respect the law. And also, there have been instances where they've been taken to court. So really, we are becoming a society that are governed by laws. Of course, the laws, in my opinion, are still the old laws. I don't think they're laws that are based, many of them are not based on democratic values. But at least we are in motion. Right? Now, the government set up a truth commission, and everybody who's supposed to be there went there, told their story. You heard on the radio, TV, YouTube, you name it, in local languages. So Gambians, for the first time, saw what happened, saw and heard what happened. There was a historical, the document, this was documented for everybody to see. The commissioners were chosen through a rigorous process that involved civil society, the bar, the youths, women from all the regions, and the different Christian denominations. That's why you have the imam and the bishop. You had the youth rep and the women. So you can see it was very representative. So it was a very fair process. And we've seen the proceedings were very open and fair as far as I can see. And they had a report, and the government white paper, pretty much accepted
98%
substantively everything, with a few exceptions here and there. And set in motion a process of setting up a court. And that took a long time, much longer time than we wanted, because the bar started the discussion, but there's a lot of things that is required. And in as much as we would have wanted to start earlier, but we still think that the government has shown commitment to set up an accountability mechanism that will ensure that those who are recommended for prosecution will be prosecuted. And we have the legal framework has been established through the Gambian National Assembly and also through ECOWAS. So that is already done. As far as reparation is concerned, a reparation commission has been set up by an act of parliament, and they're recruiting people to serve in this reparation commission. I think some of them are already being confirmed in National Assembly and so on and so forth. So, and some fund has already been allocated to the reparation commission. So I think, in my opinion, the government has not done badly.
When it comes to,
I think they have not done very good at explaining what they've done. But when you have, if you go to most countries that go through these traumatic experiences, there's always a certain level of mistrust of government. Because of what the other governments did. So until people see a court and maybe, Jammeh or somebody's being tried, they will not believe it's real.
It's real.
I find it hard sometimes to convince my own lawyers that this is actually happening. But it is happening.
A lot of people said, I remember having SFL here, I think a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about this, the court, and he was like, you know what, the trip is a very welcome, this is what we wanted, and he believed that there's no political will to try Jammeh and his people. But one thing he said, and I think that is very important, he said, we want a tribunal, an international tribunal, but we want it Gambianized, We don't want it because the reason why you don't want it to be so internationalized is the resources, because the budget itself that is going to cost for us to have that tribunal, it's at the end of the day might be even way. What is the point if the victims' reparation is not even anything? So what's the point of the tribunal if the victims are not compensated enough? Because if you make it so internationalized, at some point, the resources that you're going to spend on the court itself, then the point of having it is defeated, apart from just sentencing or jailing the perpetrators. So what's your point on that? And you are participating in this whole process.
I think it's a very brilliant question. And ESA is one of the leading experts in international criminal law and justice, having served at the ICC and different East Timor and The Hague and the rest of it, and also as a defense attorney.
Yeah.
And in fact, SI is one of the Gambians we actually consulted. We've consulted SI when we drafted when the statute of the court was drafted. All the legal instruments. SI is one of those people we actually invited to critique these legal instruments. As any Gambian who has expertise in it, we've pretty much reached out to you, including Fatou Bensouda and others, were actually involved in drafting and critiquing and reviewing our legal instrument. The Gambian model, which I'm very proud of, because I will say it was a brainchild of the Bar Association. We started the whole process and even raised the funds to popularize the discussion and bring civil society and the government and others. It's built on this is the motto. You build, you make it. It's Gambian as it's a Gambian-led effort, and only international as needed. So it's as Gambian unless you need to internationalize it.
Okay.
What does that mean? We don't have the laws that can try. Even torture is not in our books.
Yeah.
Was not. And the ones we have a torture, but it's not retroactive. You cannot go backwards.
You couldn't go back.
So you can, even it has to start from when it was passed. So anything before cannot be tried.
Yeah.
Torture, enforced disappearances. It's not in our laws. Crimes against humanity. Those leadership crimes where somebody like a leader will send someone to do something and you can't prove it.
Yeah.
So these are modes of liability where international jurisprudence has evolved to an extent that just by being a leader, by being control of an army, you may be held liable for allowing them to do it or not doing anything about it after they've done it, right? So people like Charles Taal, they may not find him pulling a trigger, but they were able to convict him. So that's why you need the international element of it.
Okay.
But even if you have the international element in terms of bringing international law through it, that's how we partner with ECOWAS. In the personnel also, that's where you can also, the majority of the personnel envisaged to be Gambian and international as needed.
Yeah.
Because there are certain skill sets also you have to have. How many Gambians have experience in international criminal law? You can also Gambianize for the sake of it. So you also have to get the best of Gambians who've done this and also get internationals. But also, international also gives it that independence. It's a very small, close-knit society. Everybody knows everybody. Yeah. We are all family in Gambia. So bringing that international element, infusing that will also give it a balance. Also helps you bring funding because, for example, you could bring an international judge or prosecutor, deputy prosecutor, who may be seconded by a country, paid for by the country. So it is actually designed, having studied the other models like Sierra Leone, Rwanda. Rwanda was completely UN. Everybody was an international in the UN. There's no Rwandans really, apart from maybe at low-level interpreters. Sierra Leone was an international court. It has some Sierra Leoneans, but not many. But for Senegal, it's an hybrid case. It was very much Senegalese, but Citizen Hybrid is not Senegalese anyway.
It's not Senegalese,
It's an EU-funded court, but EU-supported court, but Senegalese. It was embedded in the Senegalese court system, so they had most of the judges were Senegalese, so it was cheap. But for us, we've looked at between Senegal, the court in Senegal, and special tribunal in Sierra Leone. We are in between that. So we've designed it to take into account the concerns raised by ESA. So it will be as Gambian as it can get, as international as needed. In fact, part of the reason why I went to Liberia was to share how we are designing a court that can be more cost effective than overly expensive. Yeah. Because Gambia has really done a model that really would be able to cut the cost significantly than the previous models where it's either completely international or with very little national. This is going to be a high national component. And importantly, we've done something that's very innovative. We have an international element, which is the hybrid tribunal. We also have a special criminal court created by the Chief Justice, by the powers given to him under the Constitution, to create a special division of the High Court. Okay. So basically, the low-level cases that can be dealt with under Gambian law will be tried in the Gambian court by Gambian judges. Okay. Right? Okay. Although we'll have a special prosecutor, independent prosecutor, who will decide which case goes where. Okay. So that's an innovation that's actually not been done before with the Gambian model, and that will significantly reduce the cost, and it will also build capacity in the bar, local bar. It will build capacity in the local judiciary, because those courts now also have to be upgraded in terms of use of technology, because you can't use the same old system. Already, if you look at the local courts, they've started digitizing their proceedings. Now, if you go to the High Court, they're piloting, two courts are using computer digitized transcription. The judge doesn't have to now be writing everything.
Yeah, maybe with this, this will help to, we will get funding to be able to
in fact, funding has already started coming. The courts were funded through U.S. government. Okay. I mean, that's another discussion. You know what's happening in Trump. Well, anyway, that project is a part of the rule of law project. Okay. Digitizing the court has already started. So even our funding at the bar came to the project to help us write the laws and support government, and even set up the special prosecutor's office. Okay. So I think, we've learned from Salieu and others that you can spend so much money, and then after, it's an ad hoc court, it has a time it goes, and the local judiciary is not really improving. For us, we built it in a way that there will be a legacy in the local judiciary, local bar, and local rule of law system. Police, everybody will benefit. That's the idea.
That's the idea.
And then I want to say something.
Okay.
We need to, reparation is very important.
It is, yeah.
Very important. Yeah. And most victims, reparation is probably more important to them.
It's more important.
Yeah, but you have to understand, transitional justice is not only about the direct victims.
No.
It's about the entire country.
The impact in the country.
So criminal accountability is not only for the purpose of giving closure to the direct victims. It's also for the entire country. Because when you hear never again, you say this shouldn't happen again. Yeah. We're setting an example that no leader or no person has a right to just act in a way that takes people's lives, with impunity, or torture people. That's why usually these kind of courts, they only try a few people, make an example. Today, every African leader remembers Charles Taal. Yeah. How he was running from Nigeria, how he was put in a helicopter, taken to Liberia, Sierra Leone, and taken to The Hague. Yeah. You remember Bashir also. He cannot go anywhere he goes, he's running. Mr. Jammeh, with his audio, he's stuck in some room in Equatorial Guinea. Yeah. With all his talk, he can't let him start flying around. Because there have been precedents, because precedent has been set. Even if you're president, ex-president, you can be tried for committing crimes. Yeah. So I think that is the impact of prosecution. It will not solve the reparation problems, but at least it will send a message that nobody is above the law. I think that's for me.
That is key.
Justice is important. It's important for reconciliation. Yeah. And justice is for everybody. Yeah. Of course, it's closer to home to those whose parents or children or spouses were killed, and with respect to that. But it's a much overarching objective. In transitional justice.
Now, what timeline do you think we will see the court starting work? What time? What do you think?
I think you should invite my good friend Dara Jallow to come. And he's.
I really want them to. This is something that he needs to come and have.
Invite Dara Jallow, or either person is the special advisor.
Who? Ida, yes. Yeah, Ida. Former UN, UNDP. She used to be a very nice lady.
Yes. She's basically the advisor to the minister. Okay. I think it's good to bring them so that they can speak more about it.
They need to speak about this.
They were on Coffee Time 2 days ago. I think they're better placed. We're just support cast.
But you guys have an idea because you're supporting them.
Yeah, I know that things are moving. Yeah. Things are moving. But I don't want to. I think the primary players should speak to those issues.
To those issues.
Yes.
Do you think, in your opinion, we will see Jammeh being tried?
It's possible. I think there's a possibility. I cannot give you a timeline. Of course, there are challenges because he's in a country like Equatorial Guinea. Yeah. And Equatorial Guinea, it's not an easy country to extradite. For Jammeh to be tried, he needs to be extradited. Yeah. So of course that's a whole process, right? Because Equatorial Guinea are giving him protection, but right, there are many ways it can be done. In fact, one of the reasons why the country went for a international hybrid court is because it gives us the advantage and the diplomatic leverage, because this is an ECOWAS back court. It's not only Gambia, it's ECOWAS back court. ECOWAS back court will approach AU, AU approach Equatorial Guinea. It has more weight than Gambia.
Gambia just doing it on their own.
Yes. Yeah. So I think
that's why when the parliament rejected the first, when they voted against it, a lot of us were sad because we because it was important that we had the backing of
absolutely,
ECOWAS,
absolutely. So we hope that now it's got ECOWAS backing. So it's and you know, not only Gambians were killed, ECOWAS nations were killed. Ghanaians,
I had
Ivorians.
the new president when he came.
Yes.
This was one of the things he mentioned to the president.
I'm glad he did.
He said it. He said it, and like this was the main highlight of what he said.
And most of the victims in that migrant case are from Ghana, by the way. And the one who escaped,
I interviewed
Martin,
him.
Martin is from Ghana.
I interviewed him
Martin,
here.
So Ghanaians, Togolese, Ivorians, Senegalese, Nigerians as well.
Yeah, Nigerians as well.
I think about 6 different nationalities were killed. So this under the Jammeh regime, time will tell whether it is somehow through his instruction or otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, ECOWAS nations were killed under his watch, and he has to be accountable for that. Whether that accountability does not necessarily have to be in the Gambia, because the way the legal framework is designed to. We have the possibility. There's a possibility of trying him outside the Gambia. The court can actually sit outside the Gambia. If, for example, it's a security risk to try him in the Gambia, he can be tried in a third country. Remember, Charles Taylor was tried by the Special Tribunal of Sierra Leone, not the ICC, but he was tried in The Hague, in Holland, the Netherlands. So the same way, if, for example, if the security environment doesn't permit the ex-president to be tried, he can be tried in a third country. So all that has been well thought out in the statute. So the court can basically move to another country. And maybe even you can even do it by video with technology. There are so many ways to do these things. But there's so many possibilities. But the design has also factored the challenges of extraditing a president who's been harbored by a sitting president. But you know, time will tell.
Time will tell.
Yes.
Well, did you hear Jammeh's audio?
Yes.
He said, you know, he's coming back.
He
is not scared to come back.
No.
And he said, you know, make sure all of you and Barrow and everybody, make sure you don't run away.
Let me drink my water.
Make sure you don't run away. You, Barrow, and everybody, Dawda Jallow, who's trying to try him, not us.
You know the first time.
Make sure you don't run away.
You know the first time both Barrow and I ran away to Senegal.
Yeah, that's what Jammeh Taal, you guys ran away.
No, I mean, no, of course, President Barrow rather.
You are all run away.
No, President Barrow was evacuated for his own security.
Evacuated, ran.
No, okay, to be fair, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair.
The president was evacuated for his own security.
For his security
and for the future of our country.
For our country, yes.
Imagine, God forbid.
Yeah, if something happened. Yeah.
Then the election would have been. Our constitution is silent.
Silent about
so I think
that
was one of the most brilliant things done. Done
to save the country.
To save the country. So I think it was a noble act.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, I had credible information that I was on a hit list and they were going to come and get me. And I was tipped off by an insider that myself and a few others, including Nyang and others.
But that was, you know, you guys leaving also was very, very, very important.
Yes.
The role you guys played in Senegal, going to the media, talking to the Gambian people and talking to the international community as to what was happening.
Yes, in fact,
that was,
it was a blessing in disguise because when we went to Senegal, we had a global audience, global media, because the media were not allowed to come to Gambia. Remember?
Yes.
They were not allowed to come here. So we had Al Jazeera, we had BBC, we had every big media house, and we also there was a lot of misinformation in the Senegalese media about what was happening in Gambia.
Yes.
And there was a lot of advocacy in the media that was really reorienting the minds of Senegal because they didn't understand in Senegal. Is the constitutional court that decides the final result. In the Gambia is the IEC commission. So they confused people like Met Elas Diouf.
Yes.
Remember the phone call? I had to call in, correct him.
Yes, I remember that.
So they were saying that until the Supreme Court decides, Jammeh is president.
And
that's not. So we had to do a lot of sensitization of the local media through the CSOs and other activists like Jammeh and others. We're all working together, and the Gambian diaspora to ensure that the Senegal media understand that Barrow is president-elect and Jammeh is outgoing and on the 19th he has to hand over. And he can go to court, but Barrow has to be sworn in. And so being in Senegal was very, very good for also, and we were able to swear in President Barrow in the embassy. I was lucky to be one of the first few Gambians with my friend, Brother Chief Tambedou, and my Fati, and to witness that historic moment.
Yeah.
That Barrow became president on Gambian soil, which is the embassy. On international law. And all these things were well thought out.
Thought out, yeah. So Jammeh's audio, you know, when I listen to Jammeh speak, I don't know, a lot of people said, look, this government, you know, we went through a lot for the 22 years that Jammeh was president. And up to now, some people are still scared of him. And when he speaks, I mean, even though when he's not here, look at how even his party, he still runs things, managing, hiring and firing people just like he used to do. So when he speaks in those tones, you know, when he threatened our president saying, you know, make sure when I'm there, don't run and all that stuff. And he said, I mean, he spoke to certain things that really, I think he was right. He talked about the economic situation. Just like any other Gambian, you can talk about those things. He talked about the economic situation. He talked about corruption. He talked about our healthcare system and security. Those things I understand, I give it to him. But when he talks about, what did he say?
I'm not giving him nothing.
You're not giving him nothing. Sir.
I mean, okay.
Why are you not?
No, I'll tell you something.
Okay.
Those things are being spoken about in the Gambia by legitimate voices already.
Jammeh doesn't have a right to speak about
No, I'm not
them?
saying he doesn't have a right to speak to it.
Okay.
I don't think he can talk about corruption.
Okay.
Look at the Jammeh. People have amnesia in this country. Jammeh pillaged this country. I mean, without this international criminal court, Jammeh can be locked up just for corruption. It has been established. I mean, look at the overwhelming evidence in the Jammeh Commission. Of Jammeh literally writing notes and getting money from the central bank, amongst other things. So corruption, Jammeh cannot talk about corruption. I'm not saying there's no corruption in Gambia.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the legitimacy or the agency to speak about corruption. Okay. So I think it is misguided for people to start saying yes, Jammeh. I mean, he's just playing with our minds, and we need to be smarter than that. I mean, the way Jammeh owned this country. He owned this country in every possible way. I mean, his corruption was on a whole different level. I mean, Jammeh went directly and took money from the central. That's the kind of stuff he was doing, blatant corruption.
And he owned all properties.
And I mean, how many hundred properties did Jammeh have in his name in this country? Documented. I mean, it's ridiculous. So for me, I don't think, Because
as an ordinary citizen now, you don't think he can speak to
I didn't say, I'm not saying he cannot speak. Jammeh can speak all he wants, like everybody else. Yeah. I don't have a greater right than Jammeh, but I think it's hypocritical for him to start to play with everything he's saying. Governments know what's happening and they can make up their mind about it. But it's not for Jammeh. He's playing with our minds. Just because there's corruption or there's allegation of corruption does not take away the fact that he's killed many Gambians and has stolen more money than any president can ever steal in the history of Gambia. These are facts. This is about politics. For me, Jammeh's deeds is about politics. But Jammeh is trying to divide us by playing with our minds. Yes, I mean, the health sector is really in bad shape. I mean, with the
security.
The security also is not.
Yeah, and to be honest, during Jammeh's time.
Oh yeah, Jammeh was
when
better.
When it comes to internal security,
100%,
he was way better than.
100%. Jammeh is a security man.
Yeah.
And he knew how to handle security better. I give it to him.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can criticize the government for really failing in really going up to speed with SSR. These are facts, right? But that same security that Jammeh gave us also give me and you more insecurity, because you and I on the Jammeh regime, every day we wake up, we don't know whether we'll sleep in our houses.
Yeah.
Today your worry is maybe somebody might jump in and steal from your house. That's my worry. Or somebody might rob me. Yeah. But Jammeh, when I see an unknown number or knock on my house, somebody can take me to Baba Ninka. That's a whole different level of insecurity. I don't think we have that level of insecurity now.
No, we don't have.
Exactly.
I mean, different.
Yeah, okay. There's crime. There's a high level of crime, but I think there's more personal insecurity on the Jammeh than now, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think also let's not mix up things. Jammeh, for me, I think, in fact, I blame the government for giving Jammeh even the latitude to be spewing this nonsense.
How?
Because, I think they should have banned his party after the takeover.
They banned the APRC?
Yes.
But the APRC is the Barrow's biggest partner now.
I'm not sure about that. I'm saying the coalition, there was a coalition that came.
Yeah, so you believe the coalition should have banned the APRC?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because I think, like in Germany, when they took over, the National Party was banned. because that party was the machinery that was used to destroy that country, to destroy the fabric of that country. Jammeh used that machinery, political machinery, to destroy the fabric of Gambia. So they have no, I mean, call it undemocratic if you want. But democratic is also, a democracy is based on values. Where were the values of those National Assembly who were passing all those draconian laws that were not good for the country? They were undemocratic, against human rights norms.
Sir, that majority leader is the speaker.
Yeah,
of
no,
the
I'm coming.
Assembly
That, you know, we have to also unpack this.
Yeah.
The first guy who was appointed was it Bojang?
Yes.
Who appointed Bojang?
Was ambassador?
Who appointed Bojang? It was the coalition government.
The coalition government appointed.
So all of them are guilty
Yes.
of the same thing.
Yeah.
When they were a one happy family,
Yeah.
they were happy to co-opt APRC for their political gains.
And appointed him
And now
ambassador.
Barry's on his own. He's continuing on the same trajectory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, look, I mean, I'm very disappointed that Barrow has appointed Sidin Jai and Fabakary. I will always say it, black and white. I think it's a betrayal of the Gambian people. I'll say it. Because those people represented, they were the heart of Jammeh's government. Remember, Sidin Jai was the last Minister of Information of Jammeh.
And he traveled with
He
Jammeh.
got in the plane with Jammeh. Fabakary was, when they passed that the law in the law in Parliament to extend for a state of emergency, effectively extending
Jammeh's
Jammeh's
mandate.
They were acting against the will of the Gambian people.
Yeah.
So to see those people in the heart of government, in the highest
Being number 3 and number 4
echelons of government,
in this country.
it's really for me, it's so unconscionable. It's so unconscionable, and I don't think people understand what that means in this country, because we are so transactional. So for me, yes, I'll say it as it is. But notwithstanding, that still doesn't give Jammeh any legitimacy to. He has a right to say as a citizen, and he has a right to come back because he's not yet been convicted or charged.
Yeah.
So he can get on a plane
And come
back.
Yeah, he said he's coming.
Let him come.
What awaits him when he comes?
Let him come. Let him come.
What
I mean, he's a very brave man. Let him come.
He's very brave.
I mean, I believe he's a very brave man. Man ne man daw ma. Na ñëw.
But the thing is, sir, why is it that the government of the Gambia does not respond to Jammeh? See, you know, a lot of us citizens, you know, we went through a lot in the 22 years of Jammeh. Whenever Jammeh speaks, it shakes the country. You know, everybody, hey, Jammeh said this, Jammeh this. It becomes headline, newspapers everywhere, right? But never ever do you see government responding to Jammeh. But the president or this government, the spokesperson from Ismaila Cisse, Sidin Jai, not Fabakary, Sankare, and everybody, they respond to every single thing, from opposition leaders to other people, ordinary citizens, Madi Jobate and others, even to the media. Sometimes they call us out. Kerr Fatou writes statements on Sundays against us. But if Jammeh is saying all of these things, he's making big accusations. He spoke about this against the tradition. He talked about economic Sambala court. He talked about this court, hybrid court is coming. He talked about the economic situation. He talked about insecurity. He talked about all of these things that are happening. He talked about President Barrow. But still now, no statement from government.
For me, I am so disappointed. Right? I'm so disappointed. Of course, I'm disappointed about many things. I mean, I don't like to talk about politics.
I know.
Yeah,
you are not a politician.
I'm not a politician, right?
But still,
but politicians influence our lives, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And the type of politics we play here is not based on values. It's based on very parochial interests. And this interest, in many instances, is not in line with national interests. For me, the going in bed with APRC, for me, was really problematic. I cannot live with that. And that is what makes it difficult for them to speak, because you are in bed with the person that you're supposed to hold accountable, number one. Now, number two, you set in motion, because really the government has, you can say whatever you want, but they've really shown political will in this TJ process. If the president didn't give Dawda the green light, we will not be where we are. Yeah. 100%.
That's true.
Let's call a spade a spade. And really, and they have been they've done a great job in pushing this agenda at all levels We're working with them, with Tangara, lobbying to make sure ministers, other presidents vote for this in ECOWAS. A lot of work has been done. And victims are there, the bar is there. I mean, everybody hands on deck, and that is because the government wants it to happen. If they didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't have happened. And when we went to Parliament also, we passed laws there, and laws were passed smooth. When everything was smooth. But I'm coming. Now, for me, having done all of that, and then you are being applauded as this exemplary small state with soft power, you go to Myanmar and fight for the Rohingyans, fight for justice, international justice, and a fugitive president who is accused of committing crimes against humanity, amongst other things, is rubbishing your TJ process, and you say nothing. What are you saying to your development, to those who are supporting you? What are you saying to the victims? I mean, this country went through trauma. We're still traumatized as a country. So I think the government should show leadership. Leadership is taking bold decisions, bold steps, and reassure the population that don't mind this guy. We let him step his foot here. I remember when Batamedu made the statement.
One of the reasons why the APRC government members never wanted Batambedu was the stance he always had against Jammeh.
I mean, I was there at that legal year. I was sitting in that. I was bar president. And he said if Jammeh steps in, he'll be arrested.
He'll be arrested.
He was very clear about it. And I also want Dawda Jallow.
I've never had Dawda.
I want Dawda to be very clear about this position, right? I mean, maybe the president sometimes he doesn't like to speak a lot about things that are non-political. Anyway, that's what I've observed. He's very happy talking about politics, but non-politics he's not very happy, and I cannot. That's his own thing.
But the thing is,
but I think that there should be clarity from the highest office that we support. We've set in motion a process that will hold those who bear the greatest responsibility for all those atrocities will be held accountable, including President Jammeh, and so that at least, because for me, I don't take what Jammeh says seriously, but maybe many in the population do.
Many people do,
especially when the government is silent.
When the government, one thing Esa said to me here. You said the government has a political will. Esa said to me, he doesn't think the government has the political will. Reasons he gave was, you cannot go to bed with people that were part of that system, and you're in bed with them, and some of them are like 3, 4, 5 in the system, in the highest ranking of our government, number one. Also, number two, he said, this government never speaks ill of these people. Some of the people that were in that government are in Barrow's cabinet. He doesn't believe this court will start before 2026 for political reasons. Now, if you have all of these people as the president's partners in politics, do you think we will have the court before 2026 elections?
So you're being a lawyer to me now. You're lawyering me now. The question you asked me before, you've come through the back door to ask me again.
Yeah, through the back door, yes.
And you're using my lawyer to ask me. I cannot answer when the court will start. And Esa is my brother, and Esa wears two hats. He's a legal expert and also a politician.
Yes.
So I understand, and without any disrespect to him.
But you also understand.
I'm coming. And I'm not. Esa's perspective. I can understand that perspective.
Yeah.
But as also someone who's very much involved in the process, I also have an insider's perspective.
You have an inside perspective.
Yeah, but what I always say is this. Political will is fluid. It's not static. It changes.
Okay.
So every step of the way, I can speak to what I know based on where we are today. Okay. I don't know tomorrow. Okay. So far, there has been political will because I know, as a matter of fact, that when we were lobbying for this court, President Barrow had to speak to presidents. President Barrow will go to UN and speak to high-level people to support. And he would put it in his statements. So he has demonstrated political will, as far as I'm concerned, to allow the establishment of the legal framework. So far, so and Dawda Jallow has been the lead as Minister of Justice, really, and going all over the place with Minister Tangara. I even traveled with Tangara to support. So that is what I see and experience. Okay. So far, so good.
The will is there.
Yeah, the will is there. Now, time will tell. Time will tell. There's political compromises. We have undesirable political compromises. Politicians they say there's no friends or enemies in politics, only interests. So it makes me, I'm very uneasy about the political, but APRC people within the NPP government setup, it makes me uneasy. But there's nothing I can do about it because the president has,
make those choices.
Makes those choices, and there's nothing. There's a political choices. But the system that we built it in a way that it's insulated from political interference.
Okay.
The legal framework is built to make it like the Attorney General doesn't choose who's going to be the prosecutor.
Okay.
There's a panel of experts, both local and international. The same for the judges. So the law is designed in a way. Look at today, we have a very robust National Human Rights Commission. Sometimes who holds everybody accountable, including the government. But the legal framework that created the National Human Rights Commission as one of the legacies of BAR to make it independent. Right? Once you create an independent structure, it will do its job depending on the kind of leader you have, amongst other things.
Yeah.
So we also hope that I always tell Dawda, I said, look, there's no guarantee that you'll be AG next week. So let's build a system that will outlive you. So if you have an AG who maybe is different, he can't change because the water is under the bridge.
Yeah.
That's my belief. I think also President Barrow understands that Gambia is now not a pariah country. Gambia is a respectable member of the international community and highly dependent on international community for budget support, amongst other things. Yeah. And those are tied to certain democratic values. Yeah. So I think the president understands that. And so far, he's been very supportive. And, we have to commend him for that. His politics is politics, but as far as this is concerned, apart from not saying much about it, he has not really meddled into it. Okay. And there has not been any adverse moves from State House in this process. Okay. And I am in there. I'm very much involved in this process at very, very high levels. And so far, so good.
So far, so good.
Notwithstanding the fact
that will be the victims will be really, really, and a lot of us, because the truth is they don't speak about this.
By the way, the victims are represented. Where I sit, Priscilla Cisse represents the victim of WAVE. Okay. So the victims are part of the decision-making process. That's good. This ECOWAS Gambia technical, the victims are there. This is a very victim-centered approach. Okay. From day one, from conception, the victims are at the table. The victims are part of the design. Okay. At all levels.
That's very good. That's interesting. We look forward to seeing the court, hopefully before 2026. Now, you spoke about all of these things, and the reason why we might even internationalize this court is because of some of the laws. We don't have some of the laws in our books here, and this government, this coalition government, when they came in 2017, the things that they promised us was the reforms, constitutional reform, all these
draconian laws, repealing draconian laws.
But up to today, we're still being ruled by the 1997 Constitution. The 2020 draft was thrown away. The government gazetted the 2024 draft. A lot of us said, people like me, back to sender. The process itself, that is my favorite word. I said it, back to sender. Munu la sanil karta, nga ne ñu elect la nga won ñu ne nga bëgg ñoo wone yaa moom réew mi yooyu loolu lañ xeex 2017 ba ñu am président Barrow. Gambian people 2020 ñoo decide CRC ñëw ñu am 2020 draft waaye government bi they came and Dawda Jallow with his consultant and on cabinet sat there and came up with the 2024 draft. A lot of people criticize the process, but the process, we have gone past that now, is at the National Assembly. Now, what is your take on this 2024 draft? 2024 draft.
Okay, I think my position on the process is very well known. Yeah. The process, I think, is flawed. Yeah. And it wasn't consultative. Or it was consultative in their own way.
In their own way.
But major stakeholders like the bar and major civil society are not part of the process. This is fact. Despite what they say, it is definitely not consultative. But that's what under the bridge. What under the bridge? Yeah. Let's not be fighting about substance over form, basically. Now, I have had very ambivalent thoughts about this process. Yeah. I mean, my initial instinct was return to sender. Yeah. Then what?
Then what? 97.
Yeah, you stuck with 97. right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, are we worse off with 97 or 2024?
There are 1 or 2 changes.
No, like, I mean, just if you had to answer yes or no.
I mean, 97, 2024, a little better.
Is it little better or much better?
A little better.
Okay.
Not much better, a little better.
Okay. But let me tell you why. I don't support 2024, by the way. And,
Yes, you don't support, yeah.
I don't support it on whole.
On the whole, yeah.
As a whole.
As a whole,
As a
yeah.
whole.
Yeah.
But for me, I think there are three things that made Jammeh, helped Jammeh's dictatorship. The absence of a term limit and the excessive powers given to him as president because of the 52 or the many changes made. And thirdly, the fact that you can be, we have for first past the post, you don't have 50+1, meaning you can win election with 35% of the votes.
Yeah.
So you don't need, the threshold is low to win an election. And that's so easy for an incumbent to win.
Yeah.
So I think, so these are the three main things that made 97 a horrible constitution.
Yeah.
Now, if you address these things, we will be in a better position as a country. Two of these things are addressed. 50+1 is there.
Time limit is
there. So the contentious area is that they have basically recycled all the provisions that give powers. So many powers presidents have found themselves back to the Constitution.
2024.
So my approach is this: let it go to the committee, and we reduce those powers. For me, from a pragmatic point of view, or if you want to throw it out, then let's amend the 97 Constitution and bring time limit, bring 50+1, and bring more checks and balances on the executive. For me, that's my practical way of looking at it, because frankly, I don't think we're doing justice or being fair to the Gambian people if us intellectuals and others are fighting over these things that people really don't understand. And then now, post-2026, we go back, we continue with 1997 Constitution.
Yeah.
So we're back to square one. We're actually worse off. In as much as I find it a bit disingenuous to really recycle those provisions back to 2024. And of course, it has, for me, I don't know what the government was thinking when they're bringing these things. I think it's a betrayal of the Gambian people to really bring back those things that made Jammeh back.
Exactly. That's
so for me, I mean, for me, it's really, like I say, really, I don't know how it sits well with them to really want to kill an imperial presidency, which is what Jammeh was.
Yeah.
So the same power that Jammeh has is what Barrow wants to have. See, you can be a nice guy, but power corrupts, absolute power corrupts.
And this is what scares me and so many other people, because the reason why we are having this court, the TRRC and everything, is because Jammeh was so powerful.
Yes.
And those powers, exact powers that Jammeh had, is what this constitution is giving Barrow.
So why don't we allow...
Or any other president. This is not even about Barrow. But
so I agree. Yeah. I agree with you. So now, if you reject it, the status quo remains. He still has those powers.
Yeah.
At least if it goes to the committee, you have a chance to make representations to tell our appointed NAMs to take those powers out. If they don't take it out, then it becomes a political question. That's for me. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Then the government will now decide to vote for one group of people who want to remain with the Jammeh era, or those or others who want to, chart a new course. That's it. That's for the government to decide who it is.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I see it. But I think, in as much as I have a lot of things I'm uneasy about, even, taking out the whole part of internal leadership, to me that irks me. That's like, I'm like, why would you even do this?
Why would you take that?
Why would you even do this? Really, everything, all the places where there's more accountability, you are reducing accountability. You are diluting. When you say
when you come declaration of assets, when you come into office, you can declare, but when you leave, you don't have to declare.
So
but you still want the National Assembly to declare before and after.
And judges.
And judges.
So for me,
even the checks and balances, National Assembly and then the judiciary.
What's good for Gussie is good for Ganda.
Yeah.
So let's be consistent and let's be really sincere about this. Yeah. So for me, those are really questions that really trouble me, and how I mean, if I was I don't know how some people sleep at night with those things.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's their conscience to deal with. But from a pragmatic point of view, I really want a constitution that has time limits and 50+1 minimum. I mean, of course, the Bill of Rights is improved already.
Yeah.
And also, reduce, clip the powers of the executive, because the excessive powers of the executive is what enhanced the possibility of Jammeh being what he became later on.
Yeah.
For me, I am very clear about that.
Now let's look at the economic situation of the country. What's your take? Nawek.
Yes.
We have seen.
You should ask Nyang about the economy. I'm not an expert.
Nyang.
Professor Nyang, yeah?
But he has to come.
Yeah, he has to come.
He has to come.
I
tell people, Nyang and others are the experts, but me and you, we go to the market. We buy the same, we go to the same supermarkets, we buy the kilo of meat the same price, we buy cash power the same price. That is economy for me. That is not about all the numbers that the IMF and others give.
Yeah, I think there's, when I hear the inflation, what the inflation rate.
When they tell us inflation is going down.
Or it's a certain amount, I wonder, maybe I'm a lay person, but I understand basic economics.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether the basket of commodities that they use to determine inflation, whether it really reflects what we consume. Because
I thought I was the only one thinking
yeah,
that
because
way.
Everything is going up. Everything is going up. I mean, if people like us are complaining. Talk about the ordinary Gambian who are really struggling to eat on a day-to-day basis. So the cost of living is very high. But of course, this is a global phenomenon, by the way. It's not, for me, it's not
unique to Gambia.
It's not unique but for me, it's not unique to Gambia. There are global macroeconomic trends in the world that's driving prices up. Price of shipping has gone up because of the war everywhere, because of so many things have made shipping expensive everywhere in the world. And for a highly import dependent country, obviously your goods are going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
So those are extraneous factors that we don't control as a country. But I think there are things that we control as a country.
Yeah.
I think if things are hard because of external factors, what is the government doing to mitigate this hardship? For me, that's where I think we should do better to mitigate it for the poor people. I see a very over-bloated civil service. I don't see austerity in the civil service. I see V8 and V10s, all over town, right? In a country of abject poverty. And these are taxpayers' money. Like many of those, if they were buying those cars, they will not buy those cars. Those cars are being fueled by our taxpayers' money. But meanwhile, the taxes are going up for everybody, and the government is becoming more expensive to run. Look at the budget. A big part of the budget is funding government. But what is government's output to the population? In real terms, just simple. If government was a business, would it be a viable business?
No.
And if we were the shareholders of that business, would we be happy?
No.
So exactly. So for me, I like to make it very, very simple. So there are things we cannot control. But what we can control. How much empathy do we have for the ordinary Samba and Pate and Lamin and Jainaba, who's not like you and I, who doesn't live in the greater Banjul area? So for me, the quality of healthcare is in decline. Yeah, you're building many buildings, building many schools. The quality of education is bad. I think almost close to 97%. I may be wrong at the moment, but the majority of high percentage of our students fail the worst.
Yeah.
Among probably the worst in the sub-region. The worst. I have friends in the South. How can your country allow this? I think 3 or 4% have 6 credits. Literally, the data is there. Why? Check it. Not only that, even the teachers who teach them, majority of the teachers fail that test. So how can you build your country if your education system is in tatters? And our education system is in tatters. We have a serious drug problem, drug abuse problem.
Yeah.
It's one of the most neglected issues. the government should make it an emergency, like a state of emergency.
And the way the kind of drugs that are getting into our country recently, Sal, is crazy.
You know, for me, I'm not. You know what the problem is? It's not those drugs. It's the pills. Forget about those big cocaine.
But if it gets into the country, it's used by the people.
I agree. I'm just saying that the use of drugs in the streets and the schools.
Also, yeah.
Forget about these big blocks of drugs. I'm talking about tablet pills that the kids are using. Yep. I mean, it is destroying the fabric of our society. So you have a bad education system and a drug culture that remains unabated. I mean, fast forward, what's going to happen in 15, 20 years in this country? I think for me, these are like major priorities. And that also affects crime. Yeah. Crime. So I think we have many things, and this is not about politics. This
is the reality of our society.
I mean, I think this is a national crisis that requires a national solution. It's not about this. I mean, this one doesn't like me or this one no. It's about really solving a problem because it's our kids. Yeah. I mean, no matter what, Barrow cannot be president for life. No. He's going to. Somebody will be. Whether it's MP, it doesn't matter. But this is the Gambia that legacy he left behind, and somebody else will come. Jammeh was here, he went. Jawara was here, he went. There will be people. We'll live. The country outlive all of us. So I think it's important to look at the bigger picture. And that is we can do it. Anybody can do the politics, but let them look at the interest of Gambian. And I'm speaking to all of them, not speaking to one group. Yeah. I think I don't like politics. I'm sorry, because I find Gambian politics very toxic. It's very toxic.
They box everybody.
Very toxic and very self-serving. Yeah. In many ways, with all due respect. I mean, because all these they are my elders, their family, their friends. But when I look, I'm like, is the political class serving Gambia? Is it serving Gambia? I mean, good people don't want to get into politics. Yeah. Many good, decent, smart people don't want to, because of the way it is. I mean, look at Senegal, how the politics is changing. The dynamics. Yeah. You know, I mean, I think we can do better, frankly.
I mean, what do you think? Well, how can we help? Because, you know, the worry now is, for example, you know what is happening in America. This new administration. Right now, I was looking at the ICE website today. As of November, over 1,000 Gambians are on the deportation list. That is different from others who, you know, might just have a work permit or green card and they have some, you know, little cases and they can find themselves in trouble. But over 1,000 people, Germany is deporting.
Germany is way more than that.
Germany is deporting thousands of people every day, and you know, and all of that. All of these young people, when they come back to a society where there's no jobs waiting for them, there's no support system that can rehabilitate them back into the society. I remember when Trump was president in some 4 years back, when his first term, when he had so many Gambians came back, there were some people that I encountered with. People, you know, people who have been in the U.S. for over 10, 15 years, coming back home and just coming like all of that. It was tough. They needed support. Most of them didn't have that kind of support. Now, what should we do now with all of this? We don't have a system here where people get this kind of support. It's going to be another tough 4 years for not just people that are coming, but us here, because we're going to have to live with these people. We have to rehabilitate them in our society and also help them to stay in the country.
You're going too far. There are many people who live here who need support. Before you talk about deportees who have a chance to
we
even
all
go.
need support.
I mean, you and I maybe not, but the average Gambian is very, very poor. I mean, how many people come to you asking you for rice, sugar, fish money, routinely? I mean, this happens.
Never just went. This is the kind of stuff we deal with.
You know, so I think our socio-economic is very fragile. I mean, we are. I mean, we can without budget support, it's very difficult for the government to run this country. So that's why there's taxes. Okay, the taxes are increasing, but it also will affect business and
productivity.
And I guess that's the only way it's easiest
the
way.
more taxes for us, the more expensive the country because people pay more taxes. They put those.
They pass it over
To the client.
So then it's the honorable who end up suffering more than the others. So we need to really figure out how to really build an economy or country that can at least provide the basic social goods at an affordable cost to ordinary people, right? Things like good education, access to water, stable electricity, I mean, good health care. These are things that should at least be made affordable across from here to Koina. I mean, now you go to the hospital, I mean, you need to go to, you have to buy cotton to clean up sometimes. They don't have it.
This is the thing. See,
you have to, they send you to the pharmacy for the most little things.
And
back in the Senegalese used to come and use our health system.
But now
it's they always say that in Gambia, if you live here, you almost live on a lottery. If something happens to you and you have a very bad accident, you don't have any trauma care expertise is something that we don't really have, or have very little. It's not. We don't have the level of expertise that you just needed to take care of you when you have certain accidents or certain kind of illnesses. You have to be rushed to Senegal, or you might die over here. It's so easily. So I mean, there's so many problems in this country, and of course these problems are structural, and it can't be solved immediately. But I think because of the magnitude of these problems.
But then we have to first accept that these things exist. The thing is, the reason why I'm looking at you is me and you. I don't know if me and you and the rest of the people live in a different society, because when I listen to the Minister of Finance, he talked about how our economy is doing so well. And you know, how the president, before coming to this interview, I saw his clips of his interview with QTV where he says the government is doing so well, our health sector. He basically said we are number one. Our health sector is in the sub-region, we are number one. We have good road network. We have, he's talking about all the good things, the reasons why he believes he's going to win 2026 because of how well this government is doing. But when the other time I had Dr. Gajiko here, and he was talking about all these things, and someone said to me, when people come to your show, they paint a very negative picture. I said, no, for me, this is what I get from the people living across me, how my maid, when she goes to the market sometimes, because the kind of,
right.
You cannot believe the prices. But then when you talk to government officials and when you hear them speak, when you hear the president speak, you're thinking, is it a different society we're all talking about?
Well, Fatou, I think it depends on, when you're comparing like with like, of course, I mean, in the sub-region, things are very bad.
Yeah.
So in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I came from Liberia. Jammeh is like paradise.
Yeah.
You go to Sierra Leone, Gambia is like paradise. Maybe apart from Senegal.
Yeah.
And Senegal, I mean, of course.
Senegal and Ghana, yeah.
Ghana, that's
Nigeria,
it.
Yeah.
So Senegal also because of the size.
Yeah.
So if you look at the data, it might be possible that the average Gambian has better access to health, primary health as an example. So the data might suggest that we have a better health care. This is data that depends on how you interpret it, right? Access. Yeah. So, but I'm not comparing Gambia with other countries. I'm talking about being able to give birth in your country without, easily, without any complications. I mean, across the board, this should be basic right to health. It should be a fundamental right. Yeah. Like most people who have a little income will always go to Senegal for treatment. Of course, there are good doctors here. Don't get me wrong.
But it's the facilities.
Yeah, I mean, there are good doctors here who working with very little resources. And I have doctor friends, and they're trying. But the resources are not there.
Yeah.
In the hospital, I mean, and the rest of it. And of course, the private clinics are there here, but they're very expensive.
Yeah.
I know that when my security had a problem, I took him. He had a problem. Before I left, I spent $13,000-$14,000.
Yeah.
Just randomly over a little incident. I mean, imagine how many can afford that? And that was just here Medicare as an example. So it's not about. I mean, you can spin this all you want. And for me, of course, I don't want to speak to. President Boro has a right to sell his agenda for his politics, and that I don't like to get into this political discussion. Let the politicians discuss or rebut each other. But I just think that, I mean, there has to, when it comes to these issues, it's not about being defensive. It's not about if somebody, when something's, I mean, yes, there are a lot of positives in terms of the road network.
Yes.
I mean, we have to give it to the government.
Yeah.
Look at this road. I mean,
This
it's amazing.
Is amazing.
I mean,
yeah.
amazing. We have to congratulate the president and Mr. Silla, and also even look at the roads in the URI. I mean, really, it's good stuff. Those are life-changing projects, and we acknowledge it. But that is not to say that we will not also, where there are shortcomings, we will not say it. Where there are positives, we will say it. You know, we say, well done. You know, we acknowledge that they've done well. In areas where they have not done well, people also say it because we care about this country.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for them it's about winning election, but for us, about our livelihood on a day-to-day basis. Presidents will come and go, ministers will come and go, but we Gambia here and we live here. Yeah. So I think in a vibrant democracy, it is healthy to hear alternative views, because people around you will tell you what you want to hear. They'll spin things for you, all because you know when you're president, you're a little bit cushioned from reality.
Yeah.
You know,
people only tell you what you want to hear.
But it's also good to hear from outside to get the temperature, to read the temperature of the country. I mean, things are hard in this country at the moment. I mean, like I said before, some of this is extraneous, but I think also what is the government doing to alleviate or mitigate these situations? I think the government could do better. Of course, I know that, for example, they have increased salaries, public servant salaries, by 30% in this budget, which is a good thing. But even
with that is the structure.
Yes. Yeah.
For example, if public servant, if the minister is earning 50,000, you give them 50. The gap.
So for me, like there should be
a structure,
a minimum wage, like no public servant should earn less than $10,000.
Yes, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the increment should be
based on
graduated.
Grades.
Yeah. So there should be high increment for those with lower salaries,
level, yes.
and less at the high level. It cannot be just across the board. So I mean, but notwithstanding, it's a start.
Yeah.
You know. But I think we just have to have more conversation, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, things are challenging, and the government should do more to make it better for Gambians.
The president said he's going to take a tougher stand on corruption. I know this is something that a lot of us, you know, there are so many things, or the reports that are coming out, a lot of corruption reports that are coming back and forth on the public space. The president said he's going to take a tougher stand on corruption. And I think that's a welcoming.
I mean, that's a welcome development, and you know, I mean, that's welcome. I think the anti-corruption, I mean, commission has been, I mean, law has been passed, and the commission now they're recruiting the commissioners. Yeah. So I think that's actually welcome, and let's hope that, you know, when the anti-corruption commission is allowed to do its job, and also when people are accused of corruption, they are dealt with the full force of the law. Oh. So I think, you know, like I say, we'll watch and see. But I think it's important that corruption is dealt with at all levels, because corruption also kills people. It kills. You know, resources that can go to a hospital, if it's embezzled, or resources that could go to, I mean, to education and so on and so forth. So I think and I'm happy that we have the access to information law, which will allow us, the citizenry and the media, to have more access to information, so we can ask questions about the government decisions, so we can make informed decisions, and so on and so forth. So I think, I mean, I think it's a good thing that the president is launching a
tough stand on corruption.
So then, I mean, and the judiciary is very robust. I think if matters go to the court, they will do the needful. I mean, depending on the evidence, of course, before the court.
I saw you got a bad statement on, you know, when yen mom so ilale judges ak magistrate again joke. I saw the statement on the, you know, when the police withdraw the security. I mean, that I support, because, you know, the magistrates and judges, they take very tough decisions, and their lives are always at risk. So I think for them to be protected, should be everybody's business. But yen mom so ilale judges.
No, but you know what?
I love the judges and the magistrates.
You know, let me tell you something, right?
Yeah.
See, judges cannot speak for themselves.
Yeah, they cannot. Yeah.
So the bar speaks for the judiciary.
Yeah.
Because we don't speak for the judiciary. We're actually protecting the independence of the judiciary. By extension, we are promoting the rule of law. So we're speaking for everybody. So anywhere in the world, when judges are attacked, I mean, that's the beginning of a breakdown of rule of law. So now we have an independent judiciary. They're trying. I think we need to protect
them.
Their independence. So when we speak, sometimes there are a lot of things that we don't speak about, rightly or wrongly, but because we don't want to get meddled into politics. I mean, I was a very outspoken bar president, and even when I speak about constitution, today they say I'm UDP because that matter is aligned with UDP. Tomorrow I speak an issue that's on the side of NP is aligned with NPP. So I'm like a ping pong ball.
Yeah,
so
that only shows that you are.
Yeah, but at that point in time, they have amnesia. They forget.
They forget. Yes.
Yeah. Today, if I say something that UDP doesn't like, tomorrow I'll be on the internet.
Yeah.
If I say something today that NPP people don't like, they will also have views about it. But it's okay. But I think we need to understand the bar is a rule of law institution. We really protect the rule of law. We defend the rule of law, uphold the rule of law. We defend the independence of the judiciary. We defend human rights. But sometimes there are issues that are very political. So it's very difficult. It depends on whoever is president.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on their style of leadership. I mean, because I'm kind of like very much activist oriented because that's my home before I became Baptist. So it's different. But Nene is Manene Cham is very effective Baptist president who's really had a long history of fighting for justice way before it was back in the days. So she has her own way of addressing issues. Sometimes you are more effective by speaking in the corridors of power or outside the glare of the media than speaking in the media. So it's not sometimes that the bar is not doing something. Sometimes we can solve the problem without being in the public space. So these are things that we juggle all the time. But I think overall, I think we are evolving and we're really asserting our role. I would like to, can we do better? Yes, but I think we are on track.
You're on track. I think you guys have been very outspoken, and I think that is the kind of role we want to see in the bar, and that has been really forthcoming. You have been very outspoken when the journalists were. So we like people that always.
For me, it's not about you as a person. It's about media freedom. About freedom of expression. The fourth estate. You don't joke with it.
You don't joke
so
with
for
that.
me, when you attack media freedom,
when the president sued the Voice newspaper, you have been really. I saw we reproduced a lot of your tweets where you were really outspoken.
For me, like I said, the president has the right to file a civil suit. But it's the messaging. What is it sending out there? And when it comes to criminal suit, that for me was really very disappointing, and I'm glad that has been resolved. I think we must defend the media. The media is the purveyor of information. And when the media, I think the group that suffered the most on the Jammeh is the media, and the group that played the most important was the media. When the media was attacked, it moved outside Gambia and continued informing us when we were muzzled. The media fought, played a big role in our freedom. And I think this government should really recognize that more, right? Because today, before the media and the government, when they were in opposition, they were bosom buddies. You're very good friends, you know that, right?
We were very good friends.
We were very good friends, yes? But today it's different in some quarters, in some ways. But I just think that it is healthy to have a vibrant press, vibrant media, to make sure that the government is held accountable and information is out there. But also, our media also, in some instances, I think it requires a lot of trading. And sometimes in the ethical space, with new media in particular, sometimes they cross certain lines. So I think we also need better training. So the media can also, freedom of expression doesn't also mean that you can recklessly say anything you want, also destroy reputations and so on and so forth. But I think for people in high office, you should have thick skin. I'm not in government and I get attacked. And there's nothing I can do, but I don't get a paycheck from government. But because I'm in the public space, sometimes I get.
We come after you all the time.
Exactly, but it comes with the terrain.
It does.
The talk about those who are being paid by taxpayers' money. So I think, nobody, we are collected. Nobody wants the president to be insulted or a minister because they are parents and they, But it does, when it happens, you shouldn't use the law to solve the problem. You know, that doesn't even justify it being done.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just have to be the, you know, you fight information with information.
Information.
You know.
Yeah. And finally, you know, you said, you know, you are happy that we have that term limit and was 50 plus in our 2024.
Yes.
The president just said he is going to run for the third term. His words, his party is very young. He said the party is very young for him to be able to, he wants to protect the NPP because he thinks the party is very young, meaning that's why he wants to run for a third term. I know that our constitution, you know, doesn't have term limits.
Yes.
But the Gambia is one of those countries that signed to the ECOWAS, whatever term limit thing, right? So,
no, there's no time limit thing in ECOWAS, by the way.
Well, no, what was it? There
was a proposal.
Yeah.
But that proposal has never been. So there's no. Right now, they were trying to amend the supplementary protocol to make term limit 2 terms as the norm. But that has never been, I mean, approved.
It has not been approved.
Yeah, because it was.
But Gambia signaled that they were going to. Okay.
But Gambia has always supported that.
Had supported it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But my thing is, President Barrow, when he came, he told us just 3 years.
Yes.
Now he's in 10 years, 2 terms.
Yes.
But again, he's telling us today that he's running for another term. I mean, the truth is he can run up to 10 terms if he wants, as for this 1997 constitution.
Yes.
But what do you think of that, though?
For me, if I was President Barrow, I would not run. Right? If I was President Barrow.
Okay.
Because I think serving 2 years, 2 terms, and then leave a legacy, I think, show that, you know, you can have what they call, I mean, continuity. I mean, you can find somebody in his party, a dynamic leader, and support them, and the best man will win, or woman, as the case may be, in the election. That's my personal view.
Yeah.
But like you say, there's nothing legally stopping him from running for office for another term, because there's no term limit. And he's making a political calculation. Maybe politically, I can also see that the party is built around his personality. So if he goes, the party could lose.
Most of our parties are. They're built around
exactly.
people.
So maybe that's a political calculation, political decision he made. I'm not surprised at all that he's running for a third term.
You're not surprised?
No.
Okay.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, as somebody who's studying politics, I see this as a way of as a survival tactic. You know, he's just being realistic about the politics of the country. I mean, he has a better chance of winning as a candidate than anybody else in his party right now as an incumbent president. So with a political lens, I can see why he wants to do it, despite all the other considerations, like it is not best practice, it's not in line with the norms. You remember, Gambia is the only country that doesn't have a time limit.
I know.
Yes, which is really sad, right? But
in the sub-region,
yes.
Right? Oh, wow.
So we're the only country that have that. You know, so Jammeh used to vote against, when ECOWAS was proposing, it was Gambia, Togo, and who actually voted against it. The last time was Gambia actually supported.
Supported,
but Togo and Senegal. Senegal.
Yeah.
Because Macky Sall has his ideas.
Wow.
So in terms of that President Barrow has made a political decision, political calculation that for continuity and for the survival of his party, he needs a further term. Is it good for Gambia or not? The jury is out. But if I was him, I would really groom somebody else and show an example that even though I'm not legally, there's no legal
mandate.
There's no legal requirement for me. I mean, I'm not legally. There's no term limit in place.
Yeah.
But I will show an example to West Africa that I believe in term limits, because we fought against self-perpetuation in power. That was one of the discussions in the coalition manifesto.
Yeah.
Jawara stayed for 29 years. Jammeh stayed for 22 years, right?
We don't want any president above 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. That was the discussion. That was what Gambian expected.
Yeah.
But now, he's staying beyond 10 years. But you see, it's also, if Gambians vote for him, again, it means Gambians are happy with it. It's democracy, right? Because if he goes to the polls,
It's us who are going to vote.
Yeah, decide whether he has it or not. So it's a test. So if Gambians don't want a leader who would go beyond 10 years, they will vote against him. But if they want him, regardless of whether he goes for another term, they'll vote for him. That's democracy.
That's democracy. Thank you very much, Sal.
You're most welcome.
What is the last message, final message to the Gambian people? Especially to those people who are really looking forward to this tribunal, and and they didn't have clarity, because this government, the biggest problem is when they communicate properly. All of these things that you have said about this tribunal setup and everything, all of us don't know. So it's good that
So I think either person can hear you, and Daura Jallow.
Either
so
you have to come here.
Communicate.
Either you have to come.
Yeah. So
I
would first of all thank you for inviting me to this platform. I think very good platform.
Yeah.
I just would see. I was in Liberia, and I saw what bad governance and civil war does to a country. Like, for example, in Monrovia, water is a problem. I was staying somewhere close to the American embassy the night, and the UN and other places, and I saw people with all these bidons going from house to house selling water. It's like in Atlantic Road area.
Wow.
Just around the corner. And I was asking the taxi driver, he said, "Oh, we don't have water in Monrovia. Only the hotels other have boreholes. There's no functioning water system." So, but that is because of bad government, corruption, and bad leadership, and so all those things. So this democracy we have, which is not perfect, Ninko Samba Bahaba.
Yeah.
Ninko Samba Bahaba. We can have differences, but those differences, let's solve it within the democratic framework, space. We'll have push and pull, but let us never descend into political violence, into ethnic-based violence, into anything that ñu hajala as Gambians. You are Gambians. First, before Sose, Wolof, Paul, Jola, Gambia mo ñu ñor ñu ñëpp. Let's focus on, let's choose our leaders on who's the best person for the job.
Yeah.
Is it Fatou, not or Sal or Diw Sangam? Not because kii fii la jógee, kii fii la jógee. I think we just need to really focus on choosing people who can do the job for us. And whoever is chosen, you accept the key and choose, you support ko, say agenda pour ñu move forward. And hold them accountable. Elections jógee waat ñu mat ku nekk fuga far nga farfa. For me, that's what I think. I think we still suffer from the trauma and the division that Jammeh showed. I think we haven't reconciled properly. I think we need to reconcile as Gambians and look at the interest of Gambia first and foremost.
Interest of the Gambia first and foremost. Thank you so much,
It's
sir.
a pleasure. Man dama wex dunga so dama de daw
media trop yow daal yaa ngi ci sa Twitter corner bi rek foofu nga dee saani loo bëgg a gis rek waaye man moo tax fu mu ne nii loo def foofu rek ma reproduce ko ma ne comme moom foofu lañ ko dee caché kay li mu fa def
but the other thing mooy xam nga fu mu nekk tamit
yeah
like xam nga the American government
yes
jël nañ décision boo xam ne ñu ngi suspend
all
federal for overseas support for 90 days. And I think it more.
Gis naa ne démb unfreeze nañ ko but still some of the partners ñun ñu ngi am some partners yoo xam ne man barki démb ñooy dañ ma email sax man tontuma leen sax ñu ne this project we are working on is all freeze now so unfortunately we cannot.
Xam nga man lii lan la ma lii dafa dañu war a eewu ñun.
dañu war a eewu
ñu xam ne ñun as independent countries ñu toog fii ne ñun suñ lépp dañu doxal suñu réew.
waaw
suñ mbiri constitution suñ mbiri election.
everything
suñ lu nekk dañu yaakaar.
soo ko bàyyi xel seetal de ñun suñ election. doono si ñoo ko fon.
waaw
suñ constitution bii ñu wax nii.
waaw
doono si ñoo ko fon.
ak part of the last one tamit.
part of the last one
transitional justice the same.
transitional justice the same. budget support ñun laal suñ lépp.
so ñun lan la ñoo foog.
ñun lan lañ dee defal suñ boppam.
so ñun xam nga su fekkee ne yow nekkuloo di ki amee sa dépasse moo la moom
de.
so fu nekk nii tamit I think this not the Gambia ñun Africa yëpp. I mean different spaces. I think we should now start thinking of other models. Of really funding our development. If we don't fund our development, we will not own our development. So we made a meeting. Look at countries like Turkey, China, India. They went through a difficult process. Japan. I mean Singapore. You have to really sometimes look at internal resources.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, I always tell people the most scarce resource is called commitment.
Yeah.
If you're committed to something, you'll find a way to fund it or to do it. Sometimes it's not money that will do it. I remember when we had that Rock the Vote concert.
Rock the vote.
Rock
the vote concert.
You were, yeah. American
embassy when you pull out last minute.
Last minute. Didn't we do it?
What we did it.
We did it. And
we did with our own resources.
Yeah, and we called Sunyu Boss.
Yeah.
For us by us concert.
By us, and it was so successful.
Artist yëpp ñëw ne ñun ok jarul sax leen fay xam lu ñu fay ñëw show yow sa service nga jox ko free ku nekk
ku nekk di joxe saal joxe fele ku nekk pledge. And I was surprised by the end of the day how much money was coming in.
Yes, from well-intentioned Gambians.
Yeah.
And we did it, and that was to promote voter education. Yeah. I mean, people to register to vote, the young people.
Yeah.
We did it without zero
support
from
any partners. Yeah.
So we can do it. So we need that I'll use the word paradigm shift.
Yeah.
We need to shift and start looking how to do things with our little meager resources and tailor it to
our needs,
our pockets.
Yeah.
You know, we can do it.
We can settle.
Not meeting but we can do it.
I was looking at the news and Uganda, you know, all these countries, Nyunge Halat, all these drugs that are coming, the HIV drugs and all these things, that freeze by Donald Trump, Africa again shakes and America.
100%. No.
People are going crazy. Hospitals are Nyunge Lag Garapsi.
I mean, antiviral drugs for AIDS.
AIDS and all these things,
So I think it's time for us to be Africans, not only the global South.
Yeah.
That is like any younger see politics America, then we cannot function.
And the next 4 years is going to be very tough.
No, it's going to be tough. I mean, but Lee is no longer daf ko yaga wax. So
and we were never prepared for it.
So but legi ñu taka sun ndiga.
Wow.
First sun ndiga taka sun ndiga one a full ak fay ak job.
Wa legi CSOC ak ñun media bi all these projects yu nga xamne even government yo xamne embassies yi ñoko def fund fi.
Anyway, I was thinking that we should have a forum and discuss.
We should do this
and
have CSO members to come in and have a forum about this. This is very important.
I think we should have that discussion.
We should.
And find ways. I mean, it's going to be hard, but what choice do we have?
What do we have?
We have to do what we got to do.
What we got to do. Yeah.
With our meager resources.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Taal. Thank you. It's always good to have you and have a great conversation. Thank you so much.
It's a great pleasure.
Thank you so much. And to the team and all of you watching, good night to you. I'll see you again next week, Thursday. Bye-bye.
We are happy to announce the launch of our new logo. We have evolved since our incorporation in 1997, and it is time to refresh our new look to reflect who we are today. Before I reveal our new look, however, walk with me while I take you through our journey of the last 25 years. Trust Bank was incorporated on July 3rd, 1997 and began operations on October 1st, 1997. Following the collapse of the parent company of its predecessor, Meridian, the CBG stepped in and recapitalized the bank and held the shares in trust, thus the name Trust Bank. In 1999, the first investors who responded to the IPO and paid $1.50 per share received their maiden dividend of 50 bututs per share. In 2000, the bank fully paid back its investment by declaring another dividend of $1.20 bututs per share, making it a cumulative dividend per share of $1.70, which was 20 bututs above the purchase price. Between 2002 to date, share capital has increased from $27 million to $200 million, indicating that the bank has grown organically by plowing back profits to increase capital, while at the same time paying dividends to shareholders. The bank was listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange in November 2002, being the first ever cross-border listing in the sub-region. Now let's talk about awards. The bank was awarded the insignia of the National Order of the Republic of the Gambia, ORG, in the year 2010 by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia. During the past years, the bank has received so many national and international awards. Banker Magazine, 6 times. Global Finance, 6 times. Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, 5 times. We began operations with 3 branches. Now, we have 18 branches and 20 ATMs and counting. On digital services, mobile app, check. Online banking, check. Transaction alerts, check. Watch this space. We've got more coming. Creating employment, yes, we've got that too. 400 and counting. And we take great care of our people too. Medical insurance, life insurance, private and state pensions, annual pilgrimages for both Muslims and Christians, training, yes, we do them all. One team, one family, one goal. That's the Trust Bank spirit. On corporate social responsibility, we have spent over $50 million in various causes. We care, and so we share. Over the years, we have paid over $1.6 billion to our shareholders, which translates to a whopping $20 per share and counting. Phenomenal returns for our shareholders who purchased at $1.50. Corporate taxes, over $1 billion is paid. Our journey started with a vision to create the kind of company that delivers quality services and innovative products with an inspired team dedicated to serving our customers, our environment, and our communities at large in the most caring manner. We remain fully committed to delivering excellent services to each of our stakeholders, customers, employees, shareholders, and partners. So, we remain true to who we have always been. As we look forward to